Hello, fellow fibromyalgia warriors and supporters. Thank you so much for coming back to this channel. I'm always glad to have you guys watch my videos, listen to my content, and share your support. And for that, I'm very thankful. So today, Today, I was put in mind of a particular scripture that seems super applicable to my life. And if you'll bear with me, I want to read it quickly because it does make perfect sense, okay? It's from the book of John in chapter 5, and it's where Jesus was up healing people in Jerusalem. He came to a healing pool of water, and one of the people who was there, that's where the blind, the lame, and the paralyzed would go. And if they were put in the water, it was supposed to have these incredible properties that would heal them. He came across a man who had been an invalid for 38 years, lying on his mat. And Jesus said to this guy, starting in verse 6, it says, when Jesus saw him lying there and learned he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." So Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." And at once the man was cured, and he picked up his mat and he walked. So this happened to take place on a special day on Sabbath, which was a holy day for them. And the Jewish leaders asked the man who'd been healed, "What's going on? That's a Sabbath. You're not supposed to carry your mat." And the man simply replied, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" Now, this might seem like a really odd, bizarre thing to share, but it really resonated with me because when I was at the worst of my physical injury, when my fibromyalgia was out of control, when my lower back was in agony that I could not cope with or manage, when all of this was a factor, along with my arthritis and my inflammation and my chronic pain, my brain fog, my IBS, my Raynaud's, everything else that I was dealing with, plus the severe anxiety and my depression, my bulimia, all of it, as much as I didn't want to be in that position, I couldn't see myself ever getting out of it. I simply couldn't. And I don't say that with judgment to anyone else because that is not where I'm coming from. The point is, I reached a moment, specifically within these last few months, where I realized within myself, I need to put this scripture into practice. Meaning what? Well, Jesus said to this man, "Look, do you want to get healed? If you really want to be healed, basically you can't just lay around and wait for somebody else to heal you, because it may never happen. But when I say to you, if you really want to be healed, pick up your mat and walk, you'll be healed." He had faith in Jesus and he was healed. Does that mean that for 38 years this man was not an invalid, that he was not injured or dealt with chronic pain or some sort of physical disability? That's not what it means at all. I think what Jesus was trying to say is sometimes we get so caught up in our own physical limitations and we forget to see God as in the bigger picture, and we forgot that God can actually do great things in our life. And so that was certainly me 9 years ago when I when I slipped a disc and injured my my sacroiliac joint, when my hip basically was twisted. My pelvic area got twisted, so my right side was slightly higher than my left by about half an inch, which is significant. Doesn't sound like much, but it is. I couldn't stand up straight. I had severe pain in my neck and my shoulders. It later led to fibromyalgia, pain through my arms and legs. I did not realize at that time that all of the high amounts of fruit and veg and processed things were actually causing additional ailments or worsening what I had already, causing unbelievable amounts of inflammation. And so when you are caught with multiple diagnoses of physical issues, it's not that the physical issues don't exist, and it's not that they're not real. It's just we are so far caught up in all the things that can't happen and won't happen, we forget God can still work. I certainly did. And the reason I wanted to share that is I'm not trying to preach to anybody or speak down to anybody, and certainly no judgment, because again, up until about 3 months ago, I just thought some level of chronic pain would be my life forever. That was just going to be it. And when I finally realized, not just intellectually, but I mean emotionally realized, wait a second, my brain fog is gone since being carnivore, since cutting all carbs, all plants out of my life. My brain fog is gone. My joint pain happens if I do a lot of note taking or writing, but essentially it's not something that bothers me all day long throughout the day. It's manageable. And if my lower back starts to get a bit achy, it's because I have an anterior tilt to my pelvis, which means, like most of us, when I stand, my back goes backwards. And having said that, that affects a lot of things, right? But I never thought that I would ever get 100% completely better. I just thought, no, it's everyone else who's doing carnivore. I'm missing a trick. I've missed something. That's not it at all. In fact, when we were on holiday in Canada, there were times often when I didn't want to have to be in the chair. I just felt like in my body, in my mind, in my, call it the spirit, if you will, saying, get up and walk a little, move a bit, get some motion going with your joints. You'll feel much better. And I did. And I realized if I walk with good posture, proper upright posture, and I walk and I do it carefully, and I'm not competing in a marathon, I'm just enjoying my body's ability to move. When I do that, wow, I didn't feel pain. And it suddenly dawned on me, wait a second, this is God trying to tell me, do I want to get better? Well, then I need to get up and walk. I'm not walking marathons, but the exciting thing is, 3 weeks ago, I walked almost half a mile, which was huge for me. Okay. And then a week after that, I walked a little further and I did almost a mile. And then a few days ago, I decided to go out and I went on a prayer walk. So I decided to pray and walk down this hill out to this nature area that's right close to our house. I think I was out walking in total maybe 25 minutes, but I walked almost 2 miles, which I never thought I'd be able to do ever again in my life. From somebody who used to have to spend every moment either on crutches or in a wheelchair just to get around the house, just to do basic things in my life, I've been able to, as it were, pick up my mat and walk. Does this mean I'm going to be hiking and doing these long distance walkathons? Probably not. But I can get out and feel my body move, and I can have exercise and more mobility than I ever thought possible. And the reason I wanted to share that particular scripture was because, for me at least, nothing was stopping God except for me. I was going and doing based on what I thought could happen, based on the things that I thought I could control or that I was in charge of. I didn't trust God. I didn't surrender. I didn't say, you know what, I want to be better. I want to be able to not need a wheelchair. Well, then I'm going to have to figure out, how am I going to start to build up walking and moving and gently getting my body back into regular shape. I don't mean intense aerobic exercise, not at all. I mean being able to go out for a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute walk and feel good with the correct posture, without overdoing it, without causing pain. How am I going to do that? How am I going to get my joints and ligaments to move and function the way they're designed to, the way they were meant to, if I don't start? But how am I going to start if I'm always waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect thing, the next, oh, well, I'll do this and then I'll be ready. I was trapped by the fears of what I thought my limitations were, as opposed to simply trusting if I take the first few steps, God will help take care of the rest. And he did. I mean, he designed our bodies to function a certain way. And so as long as I'm not trying to suddenly run or jog a marathon, which to me is insanity anyways, but if I'm not doing that, if I'm just trying to feel good walking fairly short distances, not getting winded, building not just muscle, but bone density, which as a woman who is 50, almost 51, I want to prevent osteoporosis. There's a history of it in my dad's side of the family and also on my mom's side. I don't want that. I don't want to risk having weak, brittle bones. That's not what I want. I want to build muscle density. I want to build strength so I can hold myself up, and carry myself with a straight spine, which is how we're supposed to function, not, standing with our, it's harder to see, but, when we stand, I'm exaggerating, but we stand with our lower backs tipped out. We should be having our pelvic bone, but our pelvic area tipped under when we move, when we walk, with our shoulders up and back, strong and straight. That's how we're supposed to function as people, as human beings. Now, if you're somebody who is not at that point yet in your health and in your journey, that is okay. And I say this to you because you do not suddenly have to start walking half a mile today. I have found, even if I get up, even when I was in agony, if I would get up off the sofa and walk just a couple feet into the kitchen, get some water, sit back down. Just the act of standing up, moving to another room briefly, and coming back helps keep our bodies in motion. And it may not seem like much. And as far as overall, building muscles and bone density, yeah, it's probably not, but it's enough to keep our joints lubricated. It's enough to start with. And I wanted to just share that because I did almost 2 miles a couple of days ago. 2 miles, which seemed impossible to me. Even 3 months ago, I thought that will never happen. That's too far. I can't do it. Because I knew from where I used to be, when I was hunched back, when I was hunched over and had horrible posture and too much pain and inflammation and agony before, I couldn't have done that distance without causing serious damage to myself. But now I can. And because I enjoy it, because I want to. I'm not, by the way, you do not need to do any exercise on a keto or carnivore diet to lose fat and regain your health. Not required. I'm moving now because I can. And like I said, I want to build muscle. The stronger the muscles are, the better they hold the body upright, the spine in place, all those good things. And I want to build bone density, which is really important, especially as a woman, as you get older and you head towards those menopausal, postmenopausal years. I want to be as healthy as I can be. I want to treat this body as much of a temple as I can whilst I'm on this earth. Now, I'm excited because my God promises that someday I will be transformed into something amazing, and I suspect, supernatural, superpowered, something incredible like what Jesus is currently right now up in heaven. That's what we get to become in the final day. But that has not happened yet. That won't happen till after we've died. Okay? So for the meantime, I want to take as much care of this particular physical body as I possibly can. because I feel better. I have more energy. And I can do more with this life when I'm in this place of feeling better physically and emotionally and spiritually than when I'm not. Again, I don't say this with any judgment whatsoever, because I was in a place where I had limited mobility. I had to have a care person come in every day, Monday through Friday, to help me wash my hair and get dressed because I was so inflamed. I was in so much painful agony. I couldn't do it myself. That is where I was at with my fibromyalgia pain, with all the other inflammation and everything else that was going on. Thankfully, that has been reversed. And I share this because it is possible for it to be reversed. It truly is. We don't have to be trapped in chronic autoimmune conditions, inflammation, or agony and pain just because it's what we are told is going to happen. It doesn't have to be that way. I have completely reversed my symptoms, and the pain is gone. The pain is gone. If I get, like, again, I'll get aches and pains if I've been sitting too long, like anybody would. And that's a sign that I need to get up. I need to stretch a bit. I need to, do some stretches to help stretch out my lower back. Make sure I'm sitting properly with my pelvic tipped forward, with my shoulders back and straight up and all that good stuff. That matters. But otherwise, I feel incredible and amazing. And honestly, God has done miraculous things for me through carnivore. Truly. I was wheelchair bound up until 3 months ago. I had to go out in a wheelchair, and I may not have used one around the house or crutches, but I still had to rely heavily on it if we were going to travel anywhere, if we were going to go to a venue, if we were going to be out doing anything. If it was not the electric chair, it was the manual chair. And little by little, I'm gradually trying to get myself away from that because I don't want the hassle. I want to be able to walk freely like everybody else. And so I'm not there fully yet, but I'm gradually getting there. And I wanted to share this video to say it is possible. Just recording. We just have to pick up our mats and walk, so to speak. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. I hope you liked the video. Please feel free to leave comments. I will see you soon in the next one. Bye for now.